At some point, presence stops being something you try to access. Not because you mastered it, not because you learned how to hold it, but because everything that distracted from it quietly fell away. Presence doesn't arrive with fireworks. It doesn't announce itself. It's noticed in its ordinariness. You realize you're not reaching for it anymore, not reminding yourself to come back, not correcting distraction. You're just here. And that simplicity can feel almost disappointing if you were expecting something more dramatic. For a long time, presence felt like a skill, something you practiced, something you returned to after wandering. You noticed when you weren't present. You worked your way back. That effort had value. It trained attention. It softened reactivity. But effort was never the destination. Eventually, the effort itself becomes unnecessary, not because you're better at presence, but because there's nothing left pulling you away. Living from presence doesn't feel elevated. It feels normal. You're not monitoring awareness. You're not checking whether you're grounded. You're living. Presence here isn't an experience layered on top of life. It's the absence of interference. Nothing extra is being added. Nothing is being held back. You notice this most clearly in how little commentary there is. Before, there was narration. This is happening. This means something. I should pay attention. I'm doing this right or wrong. Now, the narration is quiet, not silenced, unnecessary. Life doesn't need a translator. Living from presence feels like standing in a room without rearranging the furniture. You don't need to improve the moment before you can inhabit it. This can feel unsettling at first, because effort used to be how you stayed engaged. If you weren't doing something internally, you worried you were slipping. But now, stillness doesn't signal disengagement. It signals availability. You're not absent. You're not withdrawn. You're receptive. Presence without effort is receptive presence. It doesn't lean forward. It doesn't pull back. It meets what's here. This changes how time feels. Time no longer feels like something you move through on your way to another state. Moments don't feel transitional. They feel complete. Not final, complete. You're not waiting for the next thing to validate this one. You're not rushing to the future to make sense of now. Living from presence doesn't mean you don't think about the future. It means the future isn't organizing your attention. You still plan. You still decide. But those activities don't pull you out of where you are. They happen from here. This is subtle. And subtlety is easy to miss if you're looking for intensity. Presence without effort doesn't feel powerful. It feels settled. And settled can feel boring to a nervous system that's used to stimulation. But boredom here isn't emptiness. It's the absence of friction. Nothing is being resisted. Nothing is being enhanced. Life is allowed to be at its own volume. This is often where people worry they've lost something. The sense of momentum, the sense of progress, the sense of being on a path. But what's actually gone is the need to feel that way. You're not moving toward presence anymore. You're moving from it. That reverses the entire orientation of life. Before, presence was a destination. Now it's the ground. And from that ground, life continues. Work still happens. Relationships still unfold. Decisions still arise. But they arise without inner friction. You're not arguing with the moment. You're not correcting yourself. You're not positioning awareness. You're responding. Presence without effort also changes how you relate to distraction. Distraction doesn't feel like a problem. If attention moves, it moves. You notice when it returns. You don't scold yourself. You don't frame it as failure. You don't need to reclaim anything. Attention comes and goes like everything else. And because you're not gripping it, it returns naturally. This is one of the quiet signs that effort has dropped away. You're no longer managing awareness. Awareness is doing what it does. Living from presence also softens how you experience emotion. Emotion doesn't pull you out of presence. It appears inside it. Sadness doesn't feel like a departure. Joy doesn't feel like an arrival. They're movements. They come. They pass. You're not using presence to regulate emotion. Presence is simply where emotion happens. That makes emotion less threatening. You're not afraid of losing awareness. You're not bracing against intensity. You're letting experience move through a wider space. Presence without effort doesn't feel fragile. It feels robust. Not because it resists disturbance, but because it doesn't depend on conditions. You can be present while tired, while irritated, while uncertain. You don't need to fix the state to remain here. This is where presence stops being personal. It's not your presence. It's just what's happening when nothing is interfering. There's no owner, no one holding it. This is important, because when presence was something you practiced, there was still a subtle sense of me doing it. Now there's no doer, there's just experience unfolding. And that makes presence effortless. Not because you've achieved something, but because there's no one left to try. Living from presence also changes how you relate to silence. Silence isn't a gap to fill. It's not awkward. It's not empty. It's just another texture of experience. You don't rush to speak. You don't rush to think. You let silence exist. And in that silence, life doesn't pause. Continues. Presence without effort doesn't make you detached. It makes you intimate with what's here. You notice small things. The way your body adjusts in a chair. The way light shifts across a wall. The tone beneath someone's words. These aren't things you focus on deliberately. They're just noticed because nothing else is competing for attention. This is often where people realize how much effort they were expending just to stay away from the moment. Planning, narrating, interpreting, fixing. Without those, presence feels like relief. Not a dramatic relief. A quiet one. Like finally setting something down you didn't realize you were carrying. Season 3 begins here because this is what remains after everything else has been released. Not transcendence. Not enlightenment. Presence. Unremarkable. Reliable. Ordinary. And deeply sufficient. This presence doesn't promise anything. It doesn't guarantee peace. It doesn't prevent difficulty. It just allows life to happen without resistance. And that turns out to be enough. Living from presence doesn't mean you won't lose it again. That language no longer fits. There's nothing to lose. Presence isn't a state you hold. It's what's here when you're not holding anything. And sometimes, life will pull you into effort again. That's okay. Effort will dissolve again. Not because you force it, because you notice it. Presence isn't fragile. It's patient. It waits. And it doesn't need to be invited back. It's always been here. This season isn't about learning anything new. It's about noticing what's already happening when nothing is being managed. If you felt less interested in practice, if the idea of being present feels unnecessary, if life feels quieter without feeling dull, you're not drifting, you're living from presence. And if this reflection met something familiar in you, liking the video helps it reach others who may be discovering the same simplicity without having words for it. If someone came to mind while listening, sharing it may help them recognize they're not missing anything. You're welcome to subscribe if you'd like to continue through this season, not to deepen presence, but to notice how life moves when presence is already here, unfinished, and enough.